Hey Algebra 1, we're going to go ahead and start factoring day 3. So let's go ahead. We're going to page 14, I think it is in your booklet. Well, there's a couple different ways to factor. In this one, it's with a leading coefficient. So the standard form, of quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. So we're going to factor by using the pairs from a and c. So what method we're going to use, it's called the slide method. So what we do is we see that, hey, there is a coefficient in front of x squared. So we have to kind of manipulate this problem so we can solve it. So I'm going to take that 2 and multiply it by 3. So now I'll have x squared plus 5x minus 6. So now my goal is to find factors of 6 that get you 5. So we have 1 and 6, and we have 2 and 3. So keep in mind this is a negative 6 that we're multiplying by, and we want to get a positive 5. So if you think about it, we know that 1 is going to be negative and 1 is going to be positive, and we know that because this is a negative sign here. So we're going to go ahead and use 1 and 6, where 1 is negative and 6 is positive, because that gives me 5. See, this one also gives me 5 if they're both positive or they're both negative, but you want it to get to multiply to a negative 6, and a negative times a negative gets you a positive. So that's why that one does not work. So we see that we're going to use -1, -6. Well, the next thing I'm doing is I'm plugging it in just like we did before. So x minus 1, x plus 6. So that's what you guys should know how to do. And this is where it gets kind of different. So we borrowed that 2 at the beginning by multiplying. Well, now we need to do the opposite and take it away. So we need to divide both of these by 2. When we do that, we can see sometimes that they'll simplify. So this one here, we have 1 divided by 2 that doesn't simplify, so it's still 1/2. But if we look at the second one, we have 6 divided by 2, which is like saying x plus 3. Because 6 divided by 2 gets you 3. So when you notice the first one, that one didn't simplify. So what we do is we bring this 2 and we put it in front of x. So I would have 2x minus 1. And that is my answer. Okay, it's a little different than the other one, but we're going to practice it a couple more times. All right, this second one, again, I have a coefficient of 3, so I need to get rid of it by multiplying. So I'm doing 3 times -8. So that gives me x squared plus 10x minus 24. So I need to find factors of -24 that get me 10. So numbers that multiply to 24, we got 1 and 24, we've got 2 and 12, we've got 3 and 8, we've got 4 and 6. So our goal is to figure out which one's going to get us 10, and we can see that it's going to be this 2 and 12, because we want a -24, so that means 1 is negative, 1 is positive. Okay, that wouldn't work for 4 and 6. It would give you 10, but they both either have to be positive or negative. So that's why this one does not work. 1 has to be negative, 1 has to be positive. So the 2 is going to be negative, the 12 is positive because we want a positive 10. So let's go ahead and plug that in. We've got x plus 2, and we've got, or not plus 2, excuse me, we've got x minus 2, and we've got x plus 12. Well, now we need to get rid of that 3 that we used at the beginning, so we're going to divide each of those numbers by 3. So I see in my first set of parentheses, 2 divided by 3, well, that doesn't simplify, so I'm going to bring it to the front. So 3x minus 2 is my factor here. And this one, I have 12 divided by 3, which gives me 4, so x plus 4 here. And that's my answer. Okay, let's go ahead and do it again. So we have a coefficient. We see we've got a number right here. We got a 6. So we need to get rid of that 6 by multiplying it by the third number. So now I've got x squared plus 17x plus 30. So I need to find factors of 30 that give me 17. Well, let's see. We've got 1 and 30. We've got 2 and 15. We've got 3 and 10. We've got 5 and 6. Okay, so let's look at those. Are any of them going to give me a positive 17? 2 and 15. And they both have to be positive, and that's what's going to get me that 17. So I plug it in. I've got x plus 2, and I've got x plus 15. The next thing I'm doing is I'm dividing each of these by the number that I multiplied by. So 6. So because this is a 6, these have to be 6s as well. So now let's see if this simplifies. Well, if I have 2 over 6, that means that does simplify. That simplifies to 1/3. So now I have x plus 1/3 because I want it to be reduced as much as possible. The next one, I have x. I'm doing 15 divided by 6. Well, that doesn't really work, but both of those have a GCF of 3. So let's divide each one by 3. So that means my fraction is going to be 5 over 2. So I simplified that. If you guys struggle with simplifying fractions, my suggestion is to put that in your calculator. So put 2 divided by 6 in your calculator, hit enter, and you can see that it's going to reduce to 1/3. So now that they're both reduced, we need to take that number and put it in the front. So my first set of parentheses is 3x plus 1, and my second set of parentheses is 2x plus 5, and that's my answer. Okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again. All right, so what we have here is a coefficient. We've got a 2 here, so we need to get rid of it by multiplying. So I've got x squared minus 9x plus 8. So factors of 8. We've got 1 and 8. We've got 2 and 4. Our goal is to get a negative 9. Well, we're going to use 1 and 8, and they're both negative. So I've got an x minus 1, x minus 8. Now I need to divide by the number that I multiplied by. So I multiplied by 2, so let's divide each of these by 2. Well, 1/2 does not simplify, so I need to move that number on the denominator to the front. So I've got 2x minus 1. And then 8 divided by 2 gets me 4, so I have x minus 4. That's my answer. All right, another one. Let's go. Number 2. Again, we have a coefficient. We have to get rid of it. So we multiply it by the last number. We're sliding it over. That's why this method's called the slide method. So we've got x squared minus 11x plus 30. So factors of 30. We've got 1 and 30. We've got 2 and 15. We've got 3 and 10. Oh, and we know we want 11. But we still have another factor, and we've got 5 and 6. So like I said, we want negative 11 given all of these factors. Well, you can see the only one that's going to give you negative 11 is 5 and 6. And both of them are going to be negative. So that gets us a negative 11. So we plug it in. We've got x minus 5. Then we've got x minus 6. Next step, we have to take back the 2 that we borrowed by dividing both of these by 2. This first one does not simplify, so we got 2x minus 5 because we take it to the front. And then the next one, it does simplify, so we have x minus 3. It's our wonderful answer. Cool, on to the next. All right, here we go. So first step is to take that 3 times negative 3. So we got x squared plus 2x minus 9. Factors of 9, we got 1 and 9, 3 and 3. Our goal is to get 2. So let's see, if I have 1 and 9, that's never going to give me 2. And if I have 3 and 3, that is also never going to give me 2. So this does not factor. Does not factor. Okay, but this is all the work I need to see. I don't need just putting does not factor. All right, so we have one more problem left, number 4. So what I want to do is have you guys pause this video, and then you can check your answer. So remember, first step, 12 times negative 4. Good luck. All right, guys, so you should have multiplied and got 48. So this is the new equation that you're using. So we find factors of 48 that get us negative 2. That's positive 6 and negative 8. So we plug them into this step here. Remember, after we plug them in, we have to take away what we multiplied by, which is that 12. So when we take it away, we can see that the fractions do simplify, and we need them to simplify so we can have that final answer. So we can see in this last one, that's what we got. Bada bing, bada boom. We're done for today. Go ahead and start the worksheet. Ask questions if you get stuck. Bye.